Hey, what's going on, SWAC fans? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Thank you very much for checking out the state of the SWAC. On this edition, we're going to be breaking down the Jackson State versus Delta State game that took place, and Jackson State gets the victory by a score of 24-17. The Jackson State Tigers are now 3-1, and they have a bye week, and they have to take on the SWAC champions, Alabama A&M, on October the 9th. But this game between Delta State, it turned into an actual competitive game, man. A lot of fans, a lot of JSU alum, and supporters of the team were shocked to see that Delta State was still in it late in the game. They were actually driving down the field with only a few seconds on the clock, man, and it took the defense to make a stand in order for Jackson State to leave Veterans Memorial Stadium with a victory. But there's some stats, that are very positive coming out of Jackson State. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Shedeur Sanders was 25 of 36, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You had running back Marshall, 14 carries, 62 yards, 4.4 rushing average. Pickett had 9 carries, 36 yards. He had a 4.0 rushing average. And then you also have Corbin, the receiver. He led the Tigers wide receiver corps, 8 catches, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, Jackson State, they played really well in the first half. They were up 17-0 going into the half. It looked like it was business as usual. It looked as if that's the way the game was supposed to go. Everybody was happy. Everybody in the stadium was cheering. People was on social media talking noise, talking about how good Jackson State was. And then all of a sudden the second half hit, and Jackson State took their foot off the gas, and Delta State, they made a few plays. There was one play where the quarterback threw the ball down the left sidelines for a touchdown. It was an incredible catch by the wide receiver. We seen a kick return for a touchdown, and also, a run, for a touchdown, and also a field goal. So all these points came in the second half for Delta State, and Jackson State, they started to make a lot of mistakes, man. They started to get into the game, looking at the crowd, started doing a little bit of grandstanding, if you will. Look, man, if you have an opponent on the ropes, you have to make sure that you go out there and you go in for the kill. You can't be around this thing grandstanding, talking to your family and friends that's out there in the crowd. You need to be focused on the task at hand, because on the other side of the ball, the team that you're trying to pulverize, there's a lot of pride over there. And those guys are taking this thing very serious. And as long as they have time on the clock, they're going to try to put forth their effort in order to make the game rather respectable, or even to come back in order to win the football game. Jackson State, this has a lot to do with discipline. I mean, you have to be honest with yourself. The coaching staff, they have to get these guys more disciplined. They have to have them understand that you have to be able to finish games. And just because you look at who is on the marquee, so to speak, along with you, and you look at their record and you feel like they're not on your level, you can't go into games like that, man. You got to take every game seriously. And Delta State, shouts out to them. They did not give up, and they fought to the very end. The defense of Jackson State looked pretty good, looked really good in the first half, and they are continuing to be, if not the best defense in all of the SWAC right now. I mean, they are a very stout defense. They're really stingy. They don't give up too many big plays. They're able to get pressure on the quarterback. Teams have hard times running up the middle with them when it comes to the interior linemen. So their defense is really, really stout. Nobody would have a problem with the defense of Jackson State, but they will have a problem when it comes to the offense. The offense, to me, leaves a lot to be desired. The offensive line, when it comes to run blocking, it's just absolutely terrible. I mean, it's awful. It's god awful. And I'm going to be real with you, for all the people that are watching right now. I don't think that this is going to change. The only way I feel like this is going to change is next year when you start to make some changes. Around week 1, week 2, you start to see if something goes bad. You start seeing teams make adjustments. But when you start to see this 3-4 weeks into the season, you have to be under the impression that this is who this team really is. If you go out there and you're starting to see the same thing over and over again, you're not really seeing improvement away from the things that they lacked. You have to say this is who they are. And what Jackson State is is a bad running team. I mean, they cannot run up the middle. They cannot, get those extra yards. You have a big battering ram of a back in Pickett, and yet you can't get 1 and 2 yards when it's 3rd and 1, when it's 4th and 1, when it's 3rd and inches, when it's 4th and inches. You cannot get those yards that you need in order for you to sustain drives, and that's extremely alarming. What also is very alarming is, them, not being able to protect for Shedeur Sanders, which leads to the offense, in my opinion, being as vanilla as it is. The reason why it's so vanilla is because Shedeur Sanders doesn't have time to read through his progressions in order for him to make a play downfield. You won't see as many explosive plays because he doesn't have time. You're seeing a lot of 3-step drops and guys, with quick slants and quick out routes. In order for, them to sustain drives, you can't really rely on your running game so much because the offensive line can't really block. And I can understand why they're running the offense the way that they are, because you don't want to get Shedeur Sanders killed. The fact of the matter is they have to improve and they have to find ways in order to run the football. I don't know if they have to call more stretch plays. I don't know if they have to give more toss plays, maybe to Marshall. I feel like he's a better suitable running back for Jackson State, because he can run, to the edge. He can get those toss plays and get some plus yardage by using his legs. Pickett is more so of a one-cut back. He really relies on the offensive line to open holes for him in order for him to run through. And if they can't do that, then I don't feel like he can be as effective as the running back Marshall. But they have to find ways in order to get this offense a little bit more innovative. They do a lot of crossing routes. They do a lot of things, that look really good, like if you're actually looking at the game, but it's not producing anything, because the offensive line cannot hold up and have enough time for Shedeur Sanders to find the right guy. So they're going to have to find a way to get other guys involved. I feel like Newman, the slot receiver, I think that you need to get him involved on the jet sweeps, the wide receiver screens, get him plays where he's out in space. I feel like he will win the matchup there. And also, once again, using Marshall on those stretch and toss plays. I feel like they need to do that in order for them to improve. Look, it's so hard for teams to find solutions when they're losing, because the morale is really low and everybody in the locker room has a saying about why the team is not doing well. But when it comes to Jackson State University, there's a lot of optimism because you can actually talk and learn how to possibly fix some of these issues now that you're winning. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I know people are looking at Jackson State, and I hear a lot of whispers, and people are saying stuff like, well, Shedeur Sanders came out and he said, they were going to, blow teams out, and, they were supposed to be the best team in the SWAC. So people just automatically just believe that, you have to put up 40, 50 points. But the key is winning. That's just the name of the game. You don't get style points based on how many points you score. Okay. The fact of the matter is this: whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner. Doesn't matter how you look, offensively, defensively, you are winning the game. So when people say, oh man, y'all didn't beat this team, emphatically, y'all didn't look convincing when y'all beat this team. The fact of the matter is you beat the team. Rather as any other SWAC school out there, Southern, Grambling, Alabama A&M, no matter, Alcorn, if you're in a dogfight and you come out on the receiving end of a victory, after that dogfight, then let me tell you something. It's a W. And at the end of the day, in a couple of weeks, nobody will actually care. So the fact of the matter is, no matter what's going on when it comes to the offense of Jackson State, they're still finding ways to win. And as long as you can do that, you're still in contention. You still have a shot at the SWAC championship, and you still can make those corrections that, later on down the line that won't hurt you as a team. I just think that both teams played really well when it comes to quarters. First half, Jackson State looked pretty, pretty good. Second half, Delta State showed that they had a lot of pride. But at the end of the day, Jackson State gets the victory. A lot of unanswered questions. Coach Prime Deion Sanders was not happy about what he saw. A lot of alumni wasn't happy about what they saw. But Jackson State still is 3-1, and that's a place that Jackson State has not been in a very long time. So I think that a lot of alumni are happy about this because they understand that they have a shot at the SWAC championship, instead of realizing that their dreams have been burned around week 4, week 5. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think about this Delta State versus Jackson State game? What are your thoughts on the Jackson State Tigers? What are your thoughts on Delta State? Comment down below, like and share this video. This has been the State of the SWAC podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the video. And all I got to say is rough in the SWAC.